Hey everybody, this is Unit 4, Formative 1, dividing exponents. This will be the first day of dividing. Alright, so when we divide exponents, it's going to look similar to this problem or this problem here. And similar to when we multiplied, when we had bases with the same bases, we added the exponents. So now if we have the same bases, and we're dividing, we're going to subtract the exponent. So we would take this exponent minus this one. Or if the n is on top, we would take n minus m. Alright, so let's look at an example here. We have x to the fourth over x squared. So that would just be simplified to, we have the same base of x, so all we have to do is take 4 minus 2 to give us x to the second power. Okay, the other way you can look at this is that there are 4 x's on the top, x times x times x times x, all over x times x. So that's what this right here would simplify to if we expanded it all. Well, now this x will cancel out this one, this x will cancel out this one, so all you're left with is an x squared on top over 1, or just x squared. Okay, number 2, we have 4m cubed over 5m to the 9th. Okay, the 4 and 5 don't simplify at all, so our fraction is still going to have a 4 and a 5 in it. And then our m's, okay, we have 3 m's on top and 9 m's on the bottom. So we could either do this as m to the 3 minus 9, and that gives us 4m to the negative 6 over 5. And then we have to actually move our m's to the bottom because they're negative. Okay, so the only new thing here was the fact that we subtracted the 3 minus 9 to cancel those out. The other way you could look at it, if you don't want to actually use the subtraction, you could look at it as the 4 and 5 stay where they are, and then there's 3 m's on top, 9 m's on the bottom. So these 3 will cancel out 3 of them down here, so you're going to be left with 6 of them down here. Okay, so you end up with the same answer either method you do it. Alright, next problem here. So number 3, you see that there's negative exponents. The first thing you want to do is actually get rid of those negative exponents. So we could leave the 6 and 2 where they are, and then the x squared stays where it is, and then the x to the negative third is actually going to move up top. Okay, so that was your first step. Now, just like we did yesterday, we want to combine these two together while they're being multiplied, so that means we need to add the exponents now. So now we have x to the 5th on top because we add the exponents, and 6 divided by 2 gives us 3, so you can put a 1 on the bottom if you want, or just leave it as 3x to the 5th. Okay, number 4, same thing. You see negative exponents, so the first thing you want to do is actually get rid of those negative exponents. So we'll leave the negative 3 over 9 for now. X to the 4 stays where it is. We bring that y to the 6 stays where it is. X squared comes up, and I'm going to put it right next to the other x's. And then y cubed stays on the bottom. Okay. Now we can actually simplify negative 3 over 9 to become negative 1 over 3. They both divide by 3. And then we can put the x to the 4th and x squared together. So when we multiply, remember add, so 4 plus 2 gives you x to the 6th. And then there are 3 y's on the bottom and 6 on top. So these 3 on the bottom here, okay, are going to cancel out 3 of them up here, so you're going to be left with y to the 3rd on the bottom here. Okay, and there is what your original problem would simplify to. Alright, number 5 here, we have a bunch of negatives again, so we want to move those first. So the 7 and negative 21, we could actually simplify that first. 7 over 21 becomes 1 over negative 3, because 7 goes into 21 3 times. M to the negative 2nd is going to go on the bottom and become positive. n to the 6th is going to stay on top. P to the negative third is going to go on the bottom. M to the 6th is going to stay on the bottom. N to the negative 4th is going to go up top. And then P to the negative 7th is going to go up top as well. All right, negative 1 over 3, keep that. You can put your n's together here. Remember, they're being multiplied, so we just add the exponents. So we'll get n to the 10th. Okay, so you can start crossing stuff out as you actually use it. Okay, the p's then we could do next. So there are 7 p's on top, 3 p's on the bottom. So that means there are more p's on the top, so that's where the p's are going to end up. So that means that these 3 right here will cancel out 3 of these, so there's only going to be 4 left on top. So p to the 4th will go on top. Okay, if there was more p's on the bottom, then that's where they would end up. Okay, and then finally the last thing you're left with is the m's, and they're both on the bottom, so they're being multiplied, so we just want to add the exponents to get m to the 8th. And there is your answer. Okay, number 6. We have 20 over 5, which is going to simplify to 4 over 1. The x to the negative third is going to go on the bottom and become positive 3. The y to the second is going to stay up top. W to the negative fourth is going to go on the bottom. X to the fifth is going to stay on the bottom. Y squared is going to stay on the bottom. And W to the negative eighth is going to move up top. Okay, so we had a lot of things move in this one. 4 over 1 still. Okay, you can look at the y's first. So there are 2 y's on top and 2 y's on the bottom. So those actually go away completely. So you don't need to even worry about those. Your w's can go next. So we're done with the 4 and the 1 as well. There are 8 w's on top and 4 w's on the bottom, which means there's going to be 4 left on top once these four cancel out 4 of them up here. So we have W to the 4th on top. And then we have finally the x's. So there's x to the 3rd and x to the 5th. They're being multiplied. So that means x to the 8th is going to go on the bottom. And there's your answer. Okay. All right, did you know that 40% of McDonald's sales comes from, or 40% of McDonald's profits come from its Happy Meal sales? All right, and the last 2 problems here. So these are our scientific notation division problems. So very similar to multiplication, we're just going to take 8.5 divided by 4 for this first one. We're going to get 2.125 times 10 to the, and now we're going to subtract our exponent. So we're going to take negative 3 minus 2. We're not going to move them like we have in the past. So this is one where you actually have to remember to subtract. So that gives me 2.125 times 10 to the negative 3 minus 2 gives you negative 5. And there is your answer for that one. Okay. For the second one here, we're going to take 3.27 divided by 6.8, and that gives you 0.48, we'll just say, times 10 to the 5 minus 2. So we divided this number, divided by this number, and then subtracted the exponents, because if you remember from the very first slide, that's what division is, just subtracting the exponents. Okay, and now we have 0.48 times 10 to the 3rd. And then if you notice carefully, this number here is not between 1 and 10, so we need to make it 4.8 times 10 to the, this got bigger, the first number got bigger, so the exponent has to get one smaller. And there's your answer. Okay? Just remember, division is actually just subtracting exponents, but it's easier if you just move the negatives first and then just cancel them out. All right, make sure you took good notes, and we will see you later.